Today I'm going to be talking about Fuji cameras, in particular the Fuji X-T20. That is the camera that I own, and in fact I will do a full review on the X-T20. It's a very inexpensive camera, but it's a quite capable camera, amazingly. But in general, it has problems that even the top of the line brand new Fuji X-H1 has when it comes to video. Excellent photographic cameras, and they're actually good video cameras, but they do have some shortcomings. One of those in particular is battery life. In any of the Fuji cameras, you can be expecting to exchange that battery in the camera at least 2 or 3 times in a day while you're trying to work. Which is kind of a nuisance when you got your camera all rigged up or on a tripod and you have to take it down in order to change that battery. So what I'm going to talk to today has a solution for that. On top of that, one of the other problems is they only have tilty screens, and that's kind of a actually, I like the tilty screen because it keeps it a nice compact package when you're holding the camera. But a lot of people who are doing video and doing blogs need to see themselves, so they want that flippy screen so they can turn it around and actually see themselves while they're talking. And what I'm going to talk about today has a cure for that. One of the other things is my X-T20 in particular has absolutely no headphone jack and no Fuji solution to give it one. On the X-T2, if you buy the grip, or the X-H1 if you buy the grip, there's a headphone jack there, but that's a whole nother expense, and really personally I don't want the grip. To me it's putting, when you're mainly doing video, just extra bulk and stuff to deal with. Now granted, it helps you get over the battery life issue, but I like my solution better. The other thing that they don't have, which is really important to me personally, is zebras. And I think of a lot of people, if you understand zebras, you probably wish they had them too. Essentially, zebras are an overexposure warning, and they're called zebras because you get stripes, and those stripes usually blink or pulsate. So when you're looking through your finder or you're looking on your back monitor, if you see those zebra lines, then you know that that area is going to be blown out. And that's important to note because you can salvage a lot of things when it comes to shadows, but when it comes to highlights, when they're blown out, they are done and you cannot get them back. So it's very important to expose for those highlights and get them where you want them to be, so that you'll be ready to deal with what you have in post. The product we're going to be looking at is this. It is a, get it lined up there. It is a 4K on-camera monitor with tilt arm and power output. This thing is a relative bargain at $179, which is why I think it's really a great solution for people using Fuji cameras. For $179, it's going to let you overcome some of those shortcomings with Fuji. So let me go to the bench and a different camera and let us take a closer look at this monitor in general. Okay, now that we're at the bench, let's take a look at what can help us with some of our problems that we went over. One of the main things we talked about was that tilty screen and the lack of a flippy screen. So the quick answer to that is a on-camera monitor. This particular monitor is a Feelworld F6. It is also available as an Andycine A6, and I have seen it under other names as well. They're all exactly the same. If you see these button layouts and features, they are the same. And give a quick overview of the hardware. Obviously we have this bracket here which goes into a 1/4-20 on the side. If you chose not to use that bracket, you could use that 1/4-20 for something else. There's also a 1/4-20 on the bottom and a 1/4-20 at the top. There is cold shoe and a 1/4-20 inside that cold shoe, where you could also mount something like a microphone, etc. So basically with this, let's go ahead and put it on our camera. We can solve our one problem, which is having a flippy screen, because now we can use our tilty screen, but now we have a flippy screen. So let's go on to some of our other problems. One of our other problems was power, so let's go ahead and review that. First thing, let me grab a battery here. I'm going to go ahead. This monitor uses NPF style batteries. This is like a 750, so it's kind of the medium-sized battery, but it'll take up to the 970, or it will take the smaller. I have run the camera and the monitor off of the smaller battery for about a half hour. I would figure you'd get a little over an hour off of this one, and I'm not sure what you would get off the 970. So there we go. Now we have turned our monitor on, but in order to power our camera, we're going to use this DC out 8 volts that they supply. They also have a DC in, so if we didn't want to run this monitor off the battery on the back, we could actually choose to run power in here. And it says DC in 12 volts, but I believe it's actually 7.4 to 24 volts that you can run off here. So if you're in the cold or something, you could always put the battery in your pocket and then run a cord to this. If you have an AC to DC adapter, you can go ahead and plug that in here. And now let's get to how we power our camera. This is what they call a DC coupler. Fuji sells them, but they are available for a lot of different cameras. This particular one is a generic. I actually looked for the Fuji, but it didn't seem like anyone was carrying it, so I just went ahead and got the generic. I have modified this one and put a different cord on it because I wanted my cord to be just the right length. And so here we go. No, I think I actually put my monitor on backwards here. Go ahead and turn that around. So there we go. And basically what I do is I bring my cord up, and this is why I modified it, so I had a cord that was just the right size. Actually, I go to the back, I go around here, I go around the pivot point here, and then I go across and plug in to the DC out. Now with that, we now actually can power the camera. Let me go ahead and take that lens cap off. We can actually power the camera. Of course, we need to go ahead and plug in our HDMI in. Now the monitor actually comes with a HDMI cord, but it's really kind of a bulky and heavy cord. Go through my functions here and get the basic setup. Okay. Now so basically one of our problems was flippy screen. Now we have a flippy screen. The screen brightness is actually pretty good, and actually the color right out of the box, you can make some adjustments to it, but if you look at the screens, they're actually pretty decent as far as being similar. There's some minor variations, but nothing huge. So my camera will stand up straight here. I'm gonna put a little bracket on the bottom here. That way it'll give it a little height. So there we go, there's our monitor. I probably should add that it actually has a hood that can be used with it. The screen is, I believe it is a 380 nit screen. So it's pretty bright. I live down in Florida. I can kind of use it outside, but it's not perfect on those really sunny days. But this hood is all it takes to make it functional. Now, of course, when you take it and flip it, now the hood's not in the proper orientation. So there's no reason you can't put it over here if that's what you need, but a little bit of inconvenience there. But I should speak about this early. This is the thing that makes this monitor to me so powerful and such an interesting accessory is that it is $179. So always keep that in mind, because there are better. The Small HD has a lot of features to it, and that is a really great monitor, but it's almost like $500, so it is more than double the cost of this. And of course I bought a camera here that I very much like the looks of the video and stuff, but lenses and everything, it was about $1,000. I don't want to spend another $500 to get some of the features that I'm looking for if I can do that for less. So I'm looking for an economical solution. This is definitely an economical solution. So let's go back to that flippy screen. So here we go, we flip the screen over, but we can see we have a problem. I'm now sitting there looking at everything upside down. So we have buttons across the top here. These particular 4 buttons you can assign to whichever feature you want. I will do another video that goes over all the features, but I'm going to show you how I have set it up, because this is really about how to make the XT20 or the XT2 or even the XH1 just a little bit better for us people doing video with it. So here on F1 I have set up the rotation feature, and it will sit there and flip it horizontally and vertically as you run through the settings. So here I now have my monitor in a blogging type setup where I can review it. But for the rest of our talk, let's go ahead and flip that back. And again, I need to hit that button to put it back in perspective. Now, one of the things it offers is it actually has a histogram, which I have the histogram on. If I want to turn that on and off as I have it set up now, I'd have to go into the menus to turn that off. And I'm going to go ahead and pull this a little closer so hopefully you can see everything that I try to show here. Okay. On the next key, I have overexposure warnings, which are also called zebras. This to me is very, very important feature, and regrettably just about all the Fuji cameras don't have them. For some reason they say that they don't have the processing power or whatever to deal with it. So let me go ahead here and adjust my exposure, and you can see that I can get it to the point where I'm like happy with it. I'm not bringing the exposure down too much, and it's letting me know where I blow out the highlights. And the reason zebras are so important to me is because you can usually correct for a lot of underexposure, but once you've blown out your highlights, there's no information there. It's white and it's gone. So zebras are really, really important to me. I kind of look at them even more than I look at the histogram, because sometimes the histogram can be a little misleading, and even if you're looking at it on camera, the histogram's kind of small. Even here, it's kind of small, so it's really hard to use that for overexposure, whereas zebras are just in your face, and it's a lot easier to deal with it. So again, there's zebras. Again, to me, super powerful, super important. And go ahead and turn those off, and we'll go on to the to the next, which is false color. I'm not particularly great with false color. I'm just getting used to the idea of it, but basically these colors are all connected to a certain exposure level and to professionals who have dealt with monitors like this and have used false color. It's great for it to be there, but for me, the zebras are more important. And the other thing we always have a problem with is keeping our focus, because just about every camera, once you've actually started recording, you can't get a blown up version to look. Usually with your cameras you can sit there and you can enlarge the screen, or it'll be hooked into your lens, so as soon as you start turning your lens it'll enlarge the screen. But once you hit record, it goes back to the natural view. With this monitor we actually have the ability to enlarge, and here I have it set it up on my function button 4, so I can sit there and choose a let me go ahead and get my focus active here. Choose an enlargement level, either 4 times, which we have here, which is actually already pretty good, or we can go to 16 times. I guess that was 9 times last time, so here we'll go through the full range again. So there we have the normal view, there we have a 4 times view, there we have a 6 times view, and there we have a 16 times view. So as far as a tool to sit there and focus, this is great, because this screen is actually really good to look at too. I don't know how well that comes across in the video, but the quality of the screen is actually very good. Now again, depending upon your camera and how it handles HDMI out, those of us who have Fuji, we can go in and we can either have the display like this, so it's pretty clean, we're getting a clean HDMI out, or we can actually turn on all our info displays. Whoops, and go back, and now we have all the information that's on this screen so you can kind of choose which way you want to go with it. Okay, the last thing I want to go over is headphone jack. A lot of cameras, including the Fuji X-T20, the X-T2, and the XH1, if you're dealing with the body only, they don't have headphone jacks. The X-T2 and the XH1, if you buy the external grip, which personally I'm not into the grips, a headphone jack will be available there. But here we can use the headphone jack on the monitor. And all we have to do here is plug in our headphone. And so now we are monitoring audio with our headphones, as well as our visual if we turn that on our cameras. Basically this monitor to me cures a lot of problems. Those big ones being, if you're doing blogs and you want to have a flippy screen, now you have a flippy screen, especially with this excellent bracket that they enclose. That lack of headphones, which the Lone Wolf shooter really needs, is right here, so you can be monitoring your audio, and then of course being able to feed external power to the camera and skip the battery in camera entirely. There's an extra bonus there too, I should mention, because one of the things about cameras heating up is actually related to the batteries themselves, because the batteries themselves start to get hot when they're being used constantly, like in video. So if we can remove that source of heat, we're going to reduce the chances that our camera is going to overheat. To give you an example, even though my X-T20 is only rated at 10 minutes for 4K. I can keep on pressing the button. As soon as one 10-minute is up, I can start it again. I can start it again, and I put in one of the smaller NPF batteries, ran it for 30 minutes straight, restarting every 10 minutes, and it wasn't hot at all. And it was running, the little NPF battery was running both the monitor and the camera for that full 30 minutes. So that's a great kind of a sidebar feature to it. I will do another video going over all the different features, but what I really wanted to do was do a video today to go over that this inexpensive $179 monitor can kind of answer some of our problems that we have by choosing Fuji, because I know the people who choose Fuji choose it for a good reason. It's got wonderful color science. The way the controls work and everything are just really very natural, and a lot of us really enjoy using our Fuji cameras. But problems of battery life and headphones and things like that kind of get in the way, and me personally very much the lack of zebras, because I rely heavily on those, especially here in Florida, because with Florida sun it's very easy to get areas that are blown out when you're working outdoors. So again, I hope this was interesting for people and that they see some value in this monitor. I will put links to Amazon for both the Andycine A6 and the Feelworld F6. Again, they're identical, so you can go with whichever brand you're more comfortable with. And if you use those links, I'll get a little bit of a kickback from Amazon, but it won't cost you any more, and that money will help me to continue to do these videos in the future. If you like what I've done today and you'd like to show me, go ahead and hit that thumbs up and subscribe. If you don't think I did a good job at all, please feel free to hit the thumbs down, and please tell me what you think I could do better in the future. Hope you liked it, and hope you'll come and watch more of my videos in the future. Thank you.